Hello and welcome to the Sanderson Strategy, the podcasting home for you young entrepreneurs. We are on a mission to expand our knowledge, learning from our guests who have a wealth of experience in any industry. Myself, a young entrepreneur, wanting to expand my own knowledge and help my business grow. Most importantly, develop myself, learning something every day from the very people we have on this experience. Strap in and enjoy this episode. Right, hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today we are joined by Darren from PWS. Darren, if you'd like to give us a wave. So, as we always, we like to start the episode with a question from the previous guest, which was Matt from Onyx. Now, Darren, a bit of a tough one to start. Matt has asked you, what differentiates your business from competitors in your industry and what motivates you to keep pushing forward?
So that's two questions, isn't it?
Yeah, you can break it down a little bit if you like.
So what makes us different? I'm not allowed to say me. What makes us different? I think we're completely transparent with everybody. So if we know something's poor quality, we just go, this is what it is. So we don't try and sell somebody something going, oh yeah, this is premium, this is industrial, when really it's an entry level machine. I think our transparency with everybody, and you'll know probably yourself from where you brought stuff from. People have led you down the road with this is top notch, this isn't, and what you get from us is this is what it is, and we're exactly honest about it.
Yeah.
So that's the first part. The second part, what drives me to keep going forwards? Too young to retire.
That's a good answer.
I think it's a complicated one, isn't it? Because other than we need a job to survive and have a family to support, I have, since we've been doing the alpha stuff, I have felt a little bit more driven at work. So it's less of the same. It's a bit more exciting. Because now I design the stuff. If it's difficult to maintain or it's difficult to work on, it's my fault. I can't just blame a kid in an office who's drawn it on a computer. So that does help keep me driven. But predominantly, it's just, you know what, I want to set my kids off on a good foundation. I want them to have, although my dad tried really hard with us, I want to make sure that my kids have an even better go and a better start than I ever had. And I think that's a good reason.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that really highlights PWS as well is your customer service aftercare. As in, I've heard stories of 6 months after, someone's gone and picked something up and you've driven down there, completely free of charge and stuff to go and repair it or anything like that if it breaks down during the day and stuff.
Don't let on to everybody.
Yeah.
It is. You know what? I work on there's a couple of key things that I work on. One of them is I had to decide. We all have to decide in business: are we here for a good time or are we here for a long time? And what I mean by that is, if we're here for a good time, you go out and do a job, you charge the absolute maximum on that job, maybe even to the point of perhaps ripping that customer off because you're getting every single little bit out of the job. And you know what? They'll never have you back.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Or are you here for a long time where you try and look after everybody as if they're your family or your friends? And we just try and do the right thing,
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's important.
I think me and you have sat on the phone for hours and end, didn't we? Kind of discussing all things. And I mean, we helped you out a few weeks ago with that job that I called you about, with the rental of hot boxes and things. But I always give you guys a ring. I think is it Rob that answers the phone sometimes? Ron. Yeah. So
Smithy.
I think I've had a good long chat with Ron as well about buying things and whatever else. And plus, if something ever goes wrong, you're the first company I call. And I know it's the same for other people as well in the industry. So the relationship between, everyone that buys things from you is really, really positive.
Yeah, we try. We you're not going to make everybody happy. No matter how good you are, there'll always be somebody that'll expect more, always. And that's in every industry. But I do make a conscious effort to drum it through everybody that's at our place. People deal with people. People don't deal with business. People deal with people.
Yeah. So I've got a couple of questions I want to ask you. after Matt's one.
This is exciting. This is some I like this.
So, what did you do before starting PWS?
So, do you want to know?
I want to know,
what did I do before I got into doing cleaning equipment, or do you want like a rundown from when I left school to how I ended up fixing cleaning equipment?
the rundown sounds good to me, if that's all right with you.
The rundown. So we'll start with many, many, many moons ago, back when the year started with a 1. Do you know what I mean? It was a 1-9. It's not even a 2-0. So when I left school, all I ever wanted to do was work on cars. I'm an absolute petrol head through and through. I love cars, and I wanted to try and progress through and work in motorsport. But you know what? I was never the smart. I was never really academic. So whenever I was faced with courses and college and all that kind of stuff, it wasn't me. I'm very practical, very hands-on. So I originally left school and I started at a Ford and Vauxhall main dealer as a YTS trainee. £24.50 a week.
Wow. It's incredible transition to now, isn't it? Kind of. Was that minimum wage back then as well?
No, it's way below.
Oh, really?
Way below.
Yeah.
This is like I had to go to like college one day a week, and I had to spend £4. So out of my £24 for the week, £4 was bus fare to go to college. So I started there, and I did it for a while, and then a local garage offered me more money to go and work for them. So I went and worked for them for a bit, and then I got out of it completely because I got offered a job on a farm, and I did 12 months on a pig farm.
Oh, really?
Because they paid a lot more money than working in a garage. I ended up going back to cars. I did it a little bit on my own. I had a little lockup, which I did it out of when I was between jobs. And I got friendly with everybody on the industrial estate where I worked. And what I did in an evening is I went down and the local fab shop there taught me how to weld. And I used to go in an evening and do an evening shift. So I used to work all day on the cars, and then go in an evening and do like an evening shift, doing fabrication and welding, which I actually really enjoyed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a bit of a workaholic, but really enjoyed it. And then I made enough money to buy myself a nice motorbike. So if you go looking back through my Facebook, you'll see a picture of me on a bike doing a massive burnout. And I managed to make enough money to dick about on this bike. And you know what happens when you dick about on a bike?
You fall off?
You get hit by a car.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I was bombing down this road, and a car drew across in front of me. It wasn't actually, apart from initially I was going a little bit fast. It wasn't my fault. Drew across in front of me. I hit this car head on. It was a mess, really bad. I was lucky actually to be alive afterwards. To be fair, I went so far down the road on my back, it melted my rucksack to my jacket. So the rucksack had disappeared, and there was just the straps
Bloody
melted
hell.
to my jacket. One leg had bust my knee, had spun round, and it was like took the front out of one shoe, took the back out of another. It was pretty serious. So when I got up off the floor, I realised when you're self-employed, you don't get paid sick. So I was absolutely shafted.
Yeah.
So I packed it all in, and I went and got a job doing a little bit of agency driving because it was easy. I did that for wasn't long, and at the time my girlfriend had got a Vauxhall Corsa. It was like one of the original ones, the round lights on the back, one of the early
Yeah.
Corsas. And the cam belt had snapped, and it was snowing and it was horrible. And I had it towed to a place where my dad was working, and I fixed it in the snow on my back, just a couple of hours. I just got on and got it done. And this guy walks out and he says, "I've been watching you work in the snow." And I was like, "All right, good for you. Crack on, thanks, mate. Cheers." He says, what do you do? I said, oh, I do a bit of this, bit of that. He's been a bit nosy. He says, are you looking for a job? So, oh, yeah, we're always looking for a job, aren't we? Even now,
Yeah.
if somebody came along and offered me enough money, I'm looking for a job. True story.
Yeah, yeah.
And he took me in and he said, do you think you can fix these? And I was I was only, what was I back then? 19, 20. So I'd done a lot in a 4-year window.
Mm.
And I gained a lot of experience in a lot of places in a 4-year window. And he basically showed me a jet wash pump. And he said, do you think you can fix these? I was like, I can fix anything, mate. Do you know what I mean? Enough time, I'll learn it. I can fix anything. He started me there and then. So this was 1998, 97, late 7, early 98. He started me on 23 grand a year with a van, with a company phone, fixing jet washers.
It's quite the jump.
Big jump. Because agency driving, I was getting like 10 grand a year. Big jump. And I was thrown in at the deep end. I was like, this guy called Steve, Lucky Luckman, was my manager, stroke, trainer, whatever. And I had a week in the workshop fixing domestic ones. Then I was let loose on the field. Off I went.
Well,
Ring us if you have any problems. So I learned very fast. And I ended up being their highest earning service engineer. And I was good at it. When I was young, the thing was I was young enough and hungry enough to learn it very quickly so I could learn the shortcuts so I could do it even faster. So I could just finish earlier in the day. Because nobody was really tracking my time. As long as I turned over the work and got through the jobs in a day, nobody cared if I was at home at 3 o'clock. Nobody was bothered.
yeah.
I was turning over 15 grand a month on my service van and they were happy as Larry. You know what I mean? That was brilliant back then.
Yeah.
So I stuck with them until 2005. Do you want the full story?
Go on, give us the full story.
So, it involves testicles. So you ready for this?
Yeah.
And there's nothing funny about testicles. I was working, and back then, ramps were 2 channels. So, 2 U-shaped channels. And I was pushing a machine onto the back of my van, and I fell backwards when I got to the top of the van. And they've got the channel on the things.
Yeah.
Well, I might have fallen all of the way, and one of the channely bits might have into my testicles.
Oh my god.
Nearly bust it all wide open, but it was bad. I was like holding for a bit, and my nuts swelled up to the size of elephants' nuts. It was pretty bad. Melons we're talking about now, big, massive melons. Like you have to pick them up before you sit down. Job. You did ask for warts and all. And well, this is the start of why I left such a custy job, isn't it? And anyway, I went to the doctor. Doctor take these pills. And every couple of months, my big nuts had come back. So they said, look, I said, doctor, you have to send me to a nut doctor now. So they took me I went to the hospital and they were doing an ultrasound, but they basically ultrasound the whole of your gut.
Right.
And they go like from your knees to the top of your gut, even though it's your conkers that are your problem. Because they don't know what's causing your nuts to grow. So they went, I had all that done. And then, good news. And we found what you've done. You've crushed a blood vessel valve or something. So every now and again it plays up and stays stuck, which is why you're getting big nuts. Bad news, we want you back next week for a CT scan. We just want to double check something else. I'm like, oh, next week? So I'm bricking it now because the NHS do not do anything quick unless you die.
No.
Right, so this was one Friday. I'll go back the next Friday, and they do a full CT scan, and they go, yeah, we wouldn't normally operate to fix this valve, but we need to chop you open. And we need to do it quite quickly because we want to take a look at what's going on. So we'll fix that while we're at it. We'll see you next week. And quite literally, in a 3 week window, I was like, oh. So I had to go to work and say, look, they're telling me they're cutting through some muscles. I'm not going to be able to drive for 3 months. And I had a good job. I got paid sick. It was a really good job. I was never off.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
weirdly paid sick. You never have any time off work. You know what I mean? And though when you get statutory sick, people tend to spend a lot of time on it. Oh, I've got stress.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
just
yeah.
go on for it. And they tried to give me a new work contract as I was about to go and be operated on for quite a serious operation where I didn't get paid sick, and they wanted to alter the terms of my contract. And it was really horrible. I've been there for years. I was there. I've been there since late '97. This is 2005. So I've been there, 8 years? So it wasn't like I was there 5 minutes.
No, no.
I was an integral part of their team, and they treated me really badly.
Yeah.
Um, so I had my operation. I went on the sick, and I just kept going back down the doctors because they paid me statutory sick, going, I don't feel like going back to work. And I had loads and loads of time off. And while I was off, my phone was ringing with all of my customers going, when are you coming back? This guy they're sending's rubbish.
Yeah.
When are you coming back? And I'm like, I might never come back. No, you've got to come back. You've got to come back. So um, my original biggest customer, he got a slaughterhouse and about 6 machines at this slaughterhouse. And his brother had got another factory and whatever. And he said, he rang me up. He said, look, this lad they keep sending is useless. Buy a van. Go self-employed. Buy a van. Do it yourself. I'll give you our place, your brother's place. Give you the lot. He said, if I have to, I'll bloody buy you the van. But you're coming back out. I want to see you here next week. So I'm like, oh, what do I do? Well, I kind of tossed it off for like 5 months on statutory sick. So I was broke skinned.
Yeah, I
Do you
can
know what I mean?
imagine.
I hadn't planned this. If you're really going to do this, you go in, you take a copy of the database, you pinch all the customers on the slide. You know what I mean? You do it all properly.
Yeah,
Right? And
yeah.
I'd done none of this whatsoever. And so I quit. And I borrowed 500 quid off my dad to buy a van. I had a Ford Courier, P-Reg Ford Courier, that was 500 quid. My friend did graphics and sign writing. He did it for free to get me started. I had a credit card with 1,000 quid left on it. And I went to a friend of mine who had just moved to a different company, and they sold me some bits to stock my van up for trade so I could get started, and help me with some contacts so I could get started.
Oh, wow.
And that's how I started initially. A few things happened not long afterwards. Nilfisk hunted me down because they wanted a stronghold in Staffordshire to be their main agent in Staffordshire, so they came on board really early, and they brought a lot of customers with them to pass to me, which was really
Yeah,
nice.
really nice one.
So it was nice to get started. And then in 2007, so that was late 2005. I did a year in my van. 2007, we took on our first work unit. John came to work for us in July 2007. Sonia joined in 2007. And we went forwards from there,
From there.
really.
Yeah.
Um, that's how it all began. Somebody treated me badly in a job, decided, well, I wasn't going to work for them anymore. There was a small window where I nearly went off and did web design and
Changed it all up.
IT and stuff and changed it all up. But I was exceptionally good at doing the cleaning equipment. I'd become very experienced over 8 years. I'd got to see all of them from domestics all the way through to massive multi-pump machines in breweries and food factories and all that kind of stuff. And I got to see it from the simplest all the way through to the most complex. I got to go to Italy and visit the factories and meet the people that make all of the pumps and all of the kit. So in the end, it was the right thing to continue.
Yeah.
Um, but at the time, I just expected the company I'd left to come and buy me out, and give me severance pay.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. It sounded like they treated you quite badly, considering it was like a serious thing. It wasn't like you were just having time off. You had something seriously wrong with you, and you couldn't do anything about it.
I know it was rubbish. It was
Yeah.
rubbish. It's one of the, I was a scallywag back then. Do you know what I mean? I didn't care. I didn't have any morals. I wasn't. This person that you know now, this is an evolution of time. This is the person I become the person I want to be.
Hmm.
Back back then, I was all about pay me my wage, earn the most I could. I was on commission, draw it all out, and away you go.
Yeah, yeah,
And I had fill-in jobs in between that I don't overly talk about in this sector. While I was working for that company, um, from 99 to 2004, I worked training doormen in evenings.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. So all this fat that you see here used to be on my shoulders and somewhere else. If ever you come close enough and see my hands, you'll notice my knuckles are all bust up and scarred and all the rest of it. I don't overly talk about that. That was past lives. I was nowhere near as chilled out as what I am now.
Yeah.
Having my girls is what's chilled me out.
Say that I had a Burger King for dinner tonight, but they've just opened a new one near us, and they've got like quite a good thing. If you're listening and a bit hungry right now, Burger King, if you have the app on your phone, they do like significant discounts. So like a Whopper meal is like tenner normally, pretty much. I got one the other day today for $5.99 with large fries, large drink, and all sorts.
That's a fast way to get fat. It's a slippery slope.
Yeah,
Speaking from the master of Burger Kings.
I do love a good Burger King. But if we skip forward a bit in time now, so that's your beginning journey in PWS.
Yeah.
When you first started, did you do the Alpha Compact range that we know now, or would you towards like the Karcher end, or?
So we've always made bespoke kit. We never called it Alpha. Um, all of our non-brand, if you will, so something that comes without a brand on. So if you look on the side of your hat, you see it says Aqua Green. That side, we bundled into our Aqua Green brand.
Hmm.
If it's not got a name, we created a brand called Aqua Green. So, for example, the chemicals that we produce carry the Aqua Green symbol on it, and the machines that we made previously. So we made like static wall cabinets for hauliers and mobile kit and whatever. Would be painted the green. It's always been green,
Hmm.
um, and it used to have the Aqua Green branding. The Alpha is what we brought forward when we created our new petrol range. We wanted to give it a sort of strong name. And the first thing that came to mind was sort of alpha male pack leader. Do you know what I mean? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
where the alpha came from. Maybe there was a slight mistake. I probably should have just called them Green Army pressure washers. That probably would have been. So we didn't start that. Our customers started that. So that was quite a difficult. We couldn't go back and rebrand afterwards. You
Yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
It's like a
The,
one-time
the,
thing, isn't
the,
it?
it had already bolted. But we jumped forward. So, and they came around really through our customers asking. So we didn't wake up one day and go, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to start making petrol machines." That isn't sort of how it happened. I could, I'll tell you how it happened. It'll make for a story. So about 4 years ago now, I joined what the Facebook groups that we know now. And 4 years ago, there were several companies predominantly selling, and they're all as bad as each other, by the way. So this isn't just one of them. These are the names of the companies that everybody loves. And they were selling basically electrically powered machines for roof cleaning. I don't want to name names. I
Yeah,
don't
no,
want to
that's fine.
start turf war or anything like that. But they were the wrong kit, completely the wrong bit of kit. So I come on and I sort of say to everybody on Facebook or the internet, help, I'm not sure who sold you that, but it's wrong. You actually need this. And I got absolutely torn apart. Like, such and such has sold me this. They're my best mate's cousin. They know what they're talking about. To me, I know nothing. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? You don't know what you're talking about. Like, actually, I do know what I'm talking about. Your power supply at your house hasn't got enough amps to run it. You definitely shouldn't be running them on extension leads. And these were getting bundled with extension leads from suppliers. And there was many of them guilty of doing this. So he rattled me a little bit, and being called out rattled me a little bit. And we sort of sat at work and went, well, I suppose we should make a suitable hotbox. I suppose we should bolt together the kit that people should be using.
mm.
Um, so we started, believe it or not, the first thing we made wasn't the actual petrol machine. It was the hotbox. So the first thing we developed was the hotbox. And we were walking around our place and we're going, how can we make the smallest footprint, lightest footprint for a hotbox? Because available to us at the time was this frame, a universal frame, but it got this huge steel cover, and the frame itself weighed about. It was similar to the Mazzoni one, so the frame itself probably weighed 25, 30 kilograms, plus then 70 kilograms of boiler, plus a fuel tank and 20 kilograms of fuel.
Just,
So suddenly these things were weighing 120, 150 kilograms.
you just can't lift by
For,
yourself or anything like
you
that.
can't lift it by yourself. You can't maneuver it about. And if it's like the Mazzoni one, sharp edges. Do you know what I mean? Overcomplicated electrics, so the damn things didn't like being rattled about in the back of vans. So we were like, let's do basic version. Let's do a covers off, super light, basic version. Let's be dead up front with everybody from the start and go, you know what? This hasn't got every sensor under the sun on it on purpose. It's deliberately meant to be easy, so it's easy to fix if it goes wrong. You just have to be a little bit more aware when you're using it. Just listen to make sure it's turned on.
Yeah,
Listen to make sure it doesn't stay stuck on. Simple stuff. You know what I mean? This is not like rocket science. So we bolted it together. We started to mock it up, and we're like, you know what? We could fit it on one of the frames. So we started making our own petrol machines with a slightly bigger frame than all of the others. Very slightly bigger base, so we could fit the hot box, the boiler on it, basically. And then the next biggest problem with diesel machines is people filling full of rubbish fuel, and rubbish fuel collates in the bottom of the tanks. And one of the things we do a lot of is clean out fuel tanks. And we're like, you know what? How about if we could have a removable fuel tank that you could just tip and wash out or replace?
yeah,
Oh, the jerry can would fit there just nice. Suddenly, what's the idea sort of it grew itself. So along came that. We then did the petrol machines, and we said right from the start, we're only going to build with the absolute premium pucker bits. So we'll probably be the most expensive, which is fine. But instead of us selling it with all the rubbish fittings and the rubbish quick release or no quick releases, we'll fit it with all the premium stuff. So you don't have to go and spend 400 quid buying a gun and some spigots and some quick release fittings at your local dealer, because the machine you just spent 2 grand on hasn't come with all the bits. So that's kind of what led us into that path, which then brought us to the compact, which probably has been the biggest game changer in the UK market.
it is.
Um,
It is a thing to behold, isn't it? I mean,
oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. I mean, van packs have been made for many, many, many years. I mean, when I started doing this in the 90s, these existed, right? So this isn't a new trend. Seen so many of them, maybe. maybe seeing so many people making them now, maybe that's new. But um, um, some of the suppliers um, have been making them since the 90s. But every single other van-mounted hot water machine has a massive V-twin engine on it or bigger. The footprint is vast. For some reason, they bundle them with 800 litre tanks or 1,000 litre tanks.
You just don't
They
need
have
that.
this massive machine across the front. They make it 6 stories tall, so it can only fit in a massive van. You know what I mean? With a boiler hidden perhaps down the back, so you have to have both doors open. And I've seen long wheelbase sprinters where it's mounted on the back door and it's all the way past the side door of the van.
Oh my
Just the
god.
machine. Right? Massive. So we were stood talking. A guy, Nathan, worked for me at the time. And he was like, why are they so big? He was asking me a genuine question. Why are they so big? And I'm going, well, it's a complicated thing. So traditionally, you have an oversized engine because you would belt drive it. And on one side of the belt, you would have a pump that requires, let's say, 15 horsepower. And on the other side of the belt, you will have a generator that requires 3 horsepower. So you'll fit a 18, 20 horsepower engine to it. And the generator will then drive all of the 240 volt, 110 volt systems around it, or you might have a big alternator and run everything 12 volt. And you end up with this. Then you end up with this big footprint where you end up with a big engine, spaced out pump, spaced out this boiler on the side. You'll see them floating around. The Nilfisk do one called the Contractor, for example, or Karcher do the HD 1000 or DE 1000, I think it's called. And they're this massive frame thing, no tank, but they're a bit bigger than a pallet, no tank. So what the other builders do to turn them into van packs, they take that idea, don't change it much because they've not got any imagination, bolt a big tank to it, bolt a couple of hose reels to it, ta-da! There's your van pack.
Yeah.
Takes up all of your van. So Nathan was saying to me about this, that, and the other. He said, "Could you make one smaller?" And I went, "Well, if I did something clever with the electrics, yeah, we could make one smaller." He's like, "How small do you think you can get?" And I'm like, "How much water are we going to have?" And I went, "Oh." He said, "Let's do 500." This isn't like, what do we need?
Yeah.
It's like, let's do 500. That takes up half the pallet.
Yeah, it's not easy either with 500 litres. I mean, my little 240 one is like double that.
It's a big tank, isn't it? 500 litres is a big tank. And I was like, yeah, I could do that. So I had some stipulations for myself with the build. I didn't want to go down the 12 volt route because notoriously the 12 volt equipment is more unreliable than 240 volt equipment. So they're more susceptible to. So the reason why you have more problem with 12 volt than you do 240 is because of regulating the power. So I don't know if you know much about cars, but basically when you run a car, your 12 volt battery will be 12 volts when you're not running the car. But when the car's running, the battery will be about 13, 14 volts. But what that does to a jet wash is when the engine's not running, it's 12 volts. When the engine's running, the voltage goes up. So the burner fan spins faster because it's got more voltage. So you end up having to try and regulate the voltage, and the voltage regulation is an absolute nightmare. Creates loads of problems. You end up burning out motors and stuff, and it's unreliable. So I made it with 240 volt, and I'm like, you know what? I can do this with an inverter, some clever battery packs. Away we go. We did find in the initial testing, a guy called Anthony Fletcher. He had the burst test boiler. He came down and went, "I want a boiler, don't want a generator. Can you add it to my machine?" I'm like, "Perfect. You can be our test bed." He managed to go 5-6 days without charging the battery.
Wow.
The engine nearly kept up. So the engine very, very nearly kept up. So because we didn't need a lot more power, the options were plug in overnight, battery charger, or stick a couple of solar panels on the roof. And suddenly it was born that we have this hybrid idea that's really neat. It's got a nice USP. People like the idea. People ask questions. Your customers are asking the people that have got them, why is the solar panels on your van? Oh, yeah, no, we generate our own electricity. Oh, wow, that's really green, isn't it? Type of thing. And, I've got clients now that have got contracts because they've got solar panels on the van. So there's one of them does a lot of work for the national grid, and they wanted somebody that was generating clean energy to clean their stuff. And they came because of the compact machine.
Wow.
So it's quite a cool thing. Probably the coolest thing I've ever made.
Yeah.
And we've tweaked it and we've adjusted it, and it's now at a point where the only thing I've got left to do now is move it to the SkidX platform, same as all of our other products are now on. But other than that, that's a finished unit now. It's no longer all the first ones. Everyone was nearly unique for every customer, and the last few that we've done have been basically web spec, so they're a complete unit now. Whereas prior to that, we went through a window where every single one was slightly different in some way,
so
to fit the customer needs.
With one like Sid's, he's got a bigger engine, hasn't he?
He has now.
25, yeah. Is that still on a pallet size?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that's wicked.
So we made it so the V twin would fit in the same gap. So the standard the compact that you see is the same it'll fit V twin, it'll fit a single cylinder. So an interesting fact, Sid's is still his original frame.
Oh, really?
So we haven't swapped the frame out. Yeah. He just had a different engine, which I think I'm going to do my own YouTube channel. And I think I could do a channel just about Sid's kit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you
could. Because it is a story in itself. If I was the business owner, I would be quite cross. Put it that way.
Oh, really?
Yes, his lads can be a bit rough with his kit. And that it ends up costing a fortune.
Yeah,
I can't. Sid's a good customer. He pays well. I'm not complaining. Life's great. But yes. So that's the compact. So the compact it had to fit everything on it, including a V twin. Very clever. The boiler actually slides to accommodate the bigger. If you look at the pictures side by side, you'll see that the boiler has moved slightly and it rotates.
Yeah.
And when the boiler rotates and moves, you can fit the bigger pump and gearbox in. Dead clever.
See, it's
all on the same mount.
It's so surprising to me because of my mount, which some people would have seen. I know you've seen it.
Yours again. Get it up on your computer.
Yeah.
You must have a nice picture.
I do have a picture. The only thing is, if I do that, I'll have to put you off the screen.
Oh yeah.
Hang on, no, I can do this a different way. If I lower the chat and scroll up. So that is my current. Sorry, Darren, you can't see this.
That's no good. I can't talk anybody through.
Hang on. What I can do.
Why don't you send me the picture that we're looking at?
It's on our Discord chat, if you can see that.
Let's have a look. There we go. No, that's Daniel's. Higher up. Yours is the stainless steel with the two wheels on top.
Yeah, so it's so surprising to me that is similar to how the compact fits in Sid's van, isn't it? It's the side door, and to me that looks like there's hardly any room left in my van, and that is, it's without the boiler. It has got a 240 tank behind it, and it's just so surprising how something that great is the same size as that. Do you know what I mean? Like that, my one's fairly basic, isn't it? There's nothing special about it at all.
It's clever, isn't it? So I would say on the side of your frame, I would say the compact's about 10 centimeters wider to accommodate the boiler.
Yeah.
But we fit the pump and gearbox really low, so the edge of the pump is virtually under the boiler. It was honestly, it was really hard, really hard. And the other thing that we needed to do was make sure that whatever, because we're only a little company, we need to make sure that we didn't have everything bespoke for every machine. So we also decided that customers are not going to want to perhaps spend 10, 12, 15 grand at once. Well, I didn't think that when I first started making the kit anyway. It turns out the compactors are, we did 2 or 3 a month every month last year.
Wow, that's incredible.
Just to put that into perspective, it was mega. Do you know what I mean? Who have gone out? Well, one's gone out already in January, and I'm hoping to have the second one out next week already. So that's, we're already on 2 a month, and that's just the compacts, not all of the others that we do. Where was I going with this? I've lost track now. Compacts being popular. Oh, spending money. So we wanted to make everything modular. The idea behind that is, so say for example, you've got your machine now. So if you'd have brought yours from us, it would probably have been a PB back then. And what you could have done is gone, because we've got the new BM coming out soon, and you could have gone, I want to change my PB to a BM. Or you could keep your hose reel, you can keep your skid plate, you can keep your skid X, you can keep all the other bits, and you just buy the little bits, so everything's modular. It just slides in, and it all fits the same plates. So when we made the compact, everything had to be modular, so it'll all fit all of the other machines. So the skid plate had to be the same size. The boiler stand is the same size stand on the compact as what you get when you buy is it standalone. Hose reel we use on all the machines, which means that the laser cut plate that it stands on is a plate that we fit on all the machines. So it goes on the compact, it goes on the PB, it goes on the BM, it goes on all of them.
Is it quite slim and quite high? Is that because it seems to me really slim, the hose reel. Like my one's quite fat. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So it's a bit taller than yours, slimmer and taller than yours. A bit slimmer, a bit taller.
Yeah. See, I think I spoke to you, didn't I, the other day about moving over. I say moving over, upgrading.
Yeah, upgrading. Yeah, we had quite a bit of a chat about it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, there's nothing wrong with your setup. I highlighted a couple of bits that could have been a little bit better. You already know about yourself from trying to use it. But it's a perfectly good machine if you're thinking about buying it and you're thinking about selling it. So let's not talk it down.
The only thing about it is the honestly the reels for me, reeling it back because of where I've placed it, and it was my own fault because I was the one that drilled into the van and all sorts. You can see my left hose reel. I'll bring it back up on the screen quickly. My left hose reel
has the bulkhead, aren't you?
Yeah, it hasn't got a handle. The other thing, my fuel cap here, where I tried to fill up, is a disaster. That's the only two things wrong with it. Really.
Did you see the one that we fitted this last week?
I haven't. I've tried not to show anything you sent me.
Oh no, this is. I'll share you something now. You are going to adore this one. Right, I made a bespoke for somebody, who has a partner in the same Discord. Let me upload a file. Where will that have gone to? I love doing stuff on the fly like this. Let's go hunting and looking. This takes hose reels to another level.
Oh wow! So that's got a fill, the high pressure. Is that a window cleaning one at the top?
Yep.
And the little boiler in there, and then so is that the new thing, or is that? You say it's bespoke.
That's based on the BM. So the footprint's the BM footprint. The right-hand hose reel is where the BM's right-hand hose reel is. And you'll notice the machine's moved over to the left so that you can actually get to fill it down the gap.
That is cool.
The hose reel's not over the top of the fuel. And then where that hose reel is on the right, On the BM, it's not on that plate; it's at the back, opposite the yellow one. But that's basically the footprint of a BM. That is.
That looks incredible.
With a little boiler just sat cheeky next to it. Look, cheeky.
It is one of my to-do lists is to get this. I've always toyed with the PB, and always been in it. I've always wanted one. I had that bit of kit from last March at some point, and I remember calling you and said, "Oh, I want the PB. I want the PB. I like the green stuff. I like all the stuff that you do. I want the boiler eventually, so it all fits nicely." And now it's come around to the start of the season. This season, I think it's going to be something to do before then. The trouble is, right, I find, I don't know about anyone else, but with the roof cleaning side of things, I feel like you can sell a steam clean rather than how you can phrase a cold water clean on a roof. I feel like the way that you can say, oh, we can steam clean it, we can scrape it, and forget about the whole cold water way, because I say a low pressure clean. Now, that still sounds like, I know customers do get a bit funny about the word pressure. It sounds like you're going to blow a hole into their roof. Do you know what I mean? So that's a big plus for me. I can't lie.
Well, the steam works in many ways, though, doesn't it? And consumers are not silly about it. They know that when you say steam, that also includes killing everything that's growing and organic that's on it. It's an instant death. So whereas you might biocide post treat to stop stuff from coming back for a certain amount of time, if you actually steam clean a roof properly, one, you won't use a lot of pressure, and two, you will kill everything instantly. So it's all gone and it's all dead. I'm not a massive fan of trying to sell. I'm not a massive fan of roof cleaning with a jet wash. Definitely not at full power, personally. But I do know that if you turn one down and used one with heat, for example, you'll get absolutely outstanding results without tearing the roof apart and flooding the house.
Yeah. See, I hate the lichen spots left over. The white spots. I think it makes it look a bit ugly, especially in after pictures as well, before pictures. Do you know what I mean? It almost looks like half a job to me.
Get a boiler. What are we waiting for?
Yeah. So
get your hand in your pocket. I'm not going to swear on this one and get you demonetized.
I'm not even monetized yet. I'm 80 subscribers off. So soon.
with Jakey Boy, he reckons I got him demonetized. He says I dropped the C-bomb in the first 3 minutes. I don't think I did.
Yeah. This goes out on Spotify as well. I don't even know how, if that's the same how it works on YouTube.
Got no idea.
No.
It's something I am going to do. So I did a little test. You will have seen, or you may have seen, I've recently featured again on one of Sid's videos. And I dropped a couple of direct questions to his viewers to see if, one, they're listening, and two, that I might have any buy-in from the audience. Is something that I'm going to do worthwhile? And I think that on a very technical level, I could probably sit and do stuff that would appeal to 200 or 300 people.
Oh, more than that.
But that doesn't. Sell a channel. That doesn't make it worth the time. If you're going to put hours and hours of your time in to do this, eventually you're going to want some return. We don't just do none of us do any of this for the love of it. Do you know what I mean? We all want. You're doing this because eventually you'll want your podcast to be monetized. It'd be a good arm. It helps promote your business. It becomes a two-way street, so it's promotion for you and the people that come on it. Do you know what I mean? We all do everything for a reason. I think that I wanted to make sure that when I do start doing this, it will actually grow. If I put the effort in to do it, which will mean not doing something else because I'm doing that. So I asked a couple of questions on his channel, and last time I looked, there was about 70 or 80 responses on it, which is more than I get on any Facebook channel saying, you should do it. It'll be a laugh. One of the ideas I've been floating is see if I can get gifted
A machine.
a knackered jet wash, fix it, sell it, and keep doing that until I buy a McLaren.
Yeah, but you could also have fun with that as well. Make it not so much pressure. You know, if you gain a machine for free, you're almost just doing what you do anyway and recording at the same time. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it has a story.
Yeah.
Because it's like today, if I've been out this morning, so my week's run on a little bit this week. So I try not to work a weekend. I try and use a weekend for doing something for me or development. So I try and use my downtime to, especially when I'm in the right mood, do something to progress forwards. So like the latest products are all for me sitting and penning, reading the groups, trying to understand what my customers want and what potential other customers might want. So it's about trying to read the market and understand where you can be, and it's interesting how much time you can put in. You know what I mean? So I don't work weekends. So anyway, I'm out this morning, and honestly, right, I thought, video it. You're gonna love this, right? So this is how long a YouTube video would be, right? If I videoed fixing a machine. Ignore the intro of walking up and doing it, right? This is me identifying what's gone wrong. Can anybody spot the important bit that's missing? Touch. Right, right. See, this isn't YouTube in the making, is it?
But
This is it fixed, right? I was on site for under 10 minutes, identified, fixed it, tested it, washed my van, right, left, right. And I'm like, how can that be interesting content?
but I know what you mean, but I think some people will take an interest in that because like for me personally, where I live in Essex, there is no one within a 2-hour drive to help me fix something if something goes wrong. So little tips like even like how to service your machines and things.
Yeah. So I am going to do that. So there's a couple of things that are coming this year. I'm definitely going to do a YouTube channel. I'm definitely going to involve walk around of our kit, how to service a Briggs & Stratton engine, how to service one of our boilers, because we purposely made them all simple enough that you don't have to come back to us. We can WhatsApp video chat. So if you're at the other end of the country, you don't have to travel 4 hours, 5 hours for us to fix it. We can send you the bits if you can use a spanner, and we will fix it for you. And you can take it to your they're also simple enough that your local dealer could also fix any of our kit. It's purposely done that way. But yeah, so I think fix-it videos are a good idea. I think running some videos with a storyline is a good idea. I think it will help. I've just got to work out how to be dynamic and funny when I've got nobody to bounce off.
I think you could also do something like a vlog almost if you're fitting someone's kit into a van that day. Do like as they arrive the general chat, because I find the chats that you have with Sid, Jake, all of those interesting. And then you could do like a time lapse of you like forklifting the machine, and if you do that, I don't know if you forklift them in, drilling into. do you know what I mean? Though? It's just like the general, like.
Maybe I should time lapse it going in.
Yeah,
actually that's not a bad idea. I'm struggling really for how, because I know it's dull to people outside of our industry. I struggle to see how I can make it interesting. But by the same token, I just had a laugh with Sid the other Sunday morning. I get a message, please help. Puppy eyes, do you know what I mean? Please. And I'm like, oh, Jesus, really? What have you done now? I forgot to plug it in, I've definitely frozen it. It's definitely leaking. Help. I've got to be at work early Monday morning. And I'm like, look, come early Sunday morning, because I do rugby with my oldest on a Sunday. You've got to be in and gone for like 9:30, 10:30, whatever it is. I said, so I can go to rugby. I said, I'll get up early. Because it's you, I'll get up early, I'll go in and help you out. Do you know what I mean? So when he came with his camera, because he doesn't normally, Sid probably visits us 2 or 3 times a month, knickknacks or whatever. And you'll know that we only ever feature on it. He never films when he comes to us, ever, usually. So when he got his camera out, like, right, I'm going to milk it. I thought, I'm going to drop Jake in it. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm going to definitely get your shout out in it. And call him out for the badminton, which he promised. Right, but him and Jakey boy are dragging their feet on getting it arranged. Right, so I'm telling you, it's on, Jakey. Stop avoiding it. Right, you don't want to get beat by a fat man and a foreigner. Right. So I thought I'll get that in. And when we joked about it at the Christmas party, Jack from Howden's heard about it. It's like, oh, we'll sponsor that. So I'm going to make sure that something happens for the community out of that, because it should be a good laugh. Do you know what I mean? When they were all drunk at the Christmas party, they were joking how they could come and try and film it live and do it as part of his Monday night stream. So you actually playing live whilst trying to talk, doing his Monday night stream. Was a funny idea. So I got all that in, and I thought Sid's bound to cut it out. Do you know what I mean? Lo and behold,
you kept it in, yeah.
he was chatting. There are some bits where I talk to the camera and go, editing Sid might want to cut this bit out. Because the funniest video I did was with Squeaky Clean.
Oh, when you fit out his ambulance.
Oh, I massively enjoyed doing that. Me and Dave had so much fun doing that. It wasn't even like being at work. That was really good.
See, that'd be interesting for you to film when it's like almost like, you can have just a chat with a bit of banter. Do you know what I mean? With someone turning up, having their machine fitted. Do you know what I mean?
A good bit of banter. With Dave, I think we started with lunges. That's how we started the day off.
But yeah, no, I think there's a lot of ideas for you, I think, because you see quite a lot of people, don't you, each day, whether you fit someone's van out or someone pops in for something. Even if you just have like a little microphone or something on your shirt.
It's amazing how things have changed. So all of our work... Hello, doggy.
Yeah, they can't see it on the screen. I've got 2 dogs with me. Don't know if you can see the other one.
I should really call my Maisie in. Did you meet Maisie?
No.
We have a new shop dog.
Oh, really?
She's only little. She's only tiny. Bless her. She's a tiny horse. She's a small Great Dane.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How old?
She's 4. We rescued her.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sad story. I'll send you a picture. You can put it in post editing. Put it in afterwards. It's amazing, dog. Right, where are we up to? Where was we at? Compacts, work.
Yeah. So
videos.
I think we've kind of covered the PB range and the new BM and the Alpha. So, what are the future plans for PWS? What have you got? I know we just spoke about the YouTube channel, but have you got any, short-term goals or something you want to achieve in 10 years' time, kind of thing? You don't have to go too in depth if you don't want to. However,
So, depending on whether my daughter's come into the business or not, will depend upon what I do. Right. So I'm 46 now. I know I don't look at my white beard, my white hair. I know I look 55, but I'm 46. Right. So, putting that sensibly, I'm probably 15 years away from wanting to wind down. 60, you're not going to be wanting to work on the tools, heavy work. So that puts me 10 years away from actually making a firm decision, doesn't it, on what I need to do. I always said that I would like to get brought out by one of the bigger manufacturers, take the payout, take the consultancy job for 5 years after it's been done, and then slope away and just do 2 days a week driving for Asda.
Yeah.
Right. I always said that was always. That's. I'm not saying that's what I would like to do, but I think that we're something like now as a business. We're something like £1 million worth of stock and assets. Do you know what I mean? We're strong trading history with the green range now, the alpha range. I've had 3 major manufacturers whose equipment I used to sell come and visit me just to look at that portfolio and to ask the question. Right. So I'm either going to buy out one of my competitors, probably the company I used to work for, in the next 5 years, because they're all old, or I'm going to push our own manufacturing and distribution to the point where it's a saleable, tangible item. So the jet wash repairs and servicing, that side of the business is completely tied to me. And that really is something that probably isn't saleable. Although there's books for it and all the rest of it, being realistic, that probably isn't saleable. But a bunch of a brand and the equipment, and the builds and the blueprints for all that is saleable. The alpha stuff is saleable. We have 2 distributors coming on this year in 25. One in the north and one in Wales. So they'll be selling our green stuff alongside the other stuff. We have signed an exclusive contract with an American company to sell some amazing products.
Wow.
They would have been here this year, but we had a really large company go under on us, which I'll talk about if we want to talk about business stuff later on. So that stunted that a little bit for last year, but hopefully the first container will be arranged in the next sort of 8 weeks to get that on its way across. We're over Christmas, we've converted the front part of one of our units. You'll start to see, you might have saw on our Facebook Live the other day, we've now got our own blaster, so we do in-house blasting, put a new air compressor. We're going to be doing more. Basically, it's to move towards. So Barry, our fabricator, works for us full time now. He needs somebody else. We need 2 fabricators to keep up with our builds. So we're turning our second unit into basically a fabrication shop, maybe even in-house powder coating to speed the process up. And it's about speed, not cost.
Wasn't last year it was a third-party company that was doing the builds?
No, so we've always so Baz has always made it for us, but he makes it. So Baz has got his own workshop. So he used to. So Baz, how can I put it now? Baz originally was a self-employed fabricator. He was about ready to quit because he hadn't quite got enough work. We had a little chat. Do you fancy making 1 or 2 of these? And then last year just went phenomenal, crazy. But what we've identified is we're having to chop the metal, take it to be blasted, wait for it to be blasted, then it comes back, then it gets built, then it goes off for powder, wait for it to be powdered, then it comes back. So start to finish for any piece of kit really is a 3-week process. Regardless of how big the thing is, it's 3 weeks in time before we get to see it. And we got really caught out last year. We had a bunch of stock and we guessed what we would be selling. And then we probably sold 300 or 400% over what we guessed.
Allowed for, yeah.
So we quickly had to scale up. But then I was getting a bit of abuse going, why don't you take on extra staff? And I'm like, I think it's a 1-month blip. Would you? That's like you having a busy month and having to say to people, you have to wait till next month. Well, take on 2 more staff.
Yeah.
But you're only busy for 1 month. Doesn't work like that. So we've had to weigh it out, and we've gradually grown because we don't want to do something rash.
Yeah, and like a bit of a purple patch kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, which is why we've changed up some of the designs to make the equipment not necessarily faster to build, but easier to build. So, for example, the PBs, we were behind on the build of those. Last year, towards the end of the year, I was fabricating the PBs in 23 and doing all of the wheel frames. So all of the 2 and 4 wheel frames I was making at our unit, and I was making the PBs, and our fabricator was working solid on the compacts and the bespokes.
I remember giving you a call and asking about a PB, and I think you said 3 months waiting time.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
I remember you were quite. I don't know what the word is. Maybe I think you overworked a little bit, didn't you? Yourself over the time.
I was doing a lot to try and get on top of it.
Yeah.
So this time, I've been again. I wasn't expecting so many sales in December and January. We'd allowed for downtime, added extra stock. This month alone, I think 11 PBs have left us this month.
Wow. In a quiet time as well for pressure washing and things.
And all I'd expected to do was a couple of bespokes, which is crazy.
Yeah.
We took on the bespokes for December, so what you're seeing now that we've just fitted, that was planned early December, and it just took a few weeks to come through being made and powdered and blasted and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
So we're hoping by building the blaster next door, we can cut a chunk of time out and a third party that we have to rely on. So if we get busy, I can just do an extra shift at ours.
Yeah.
You can't say to somebody else, "Oh, I need this today. Can you drop that other work you're doing and do the stuff for us?"
Gets tough.
I'm still expecting there to be a couple of month lead times on some equipment this year, because it's just impossible to get it all done in that window. But the other stuff, the smaller machines, so the BMs and the PBs, they should be 2 or 3 weeks. Pick a slot when you want it fitted. That should be achievable pretty much any time of the year.
Yeah, I think probably end of March I'll probably be in touch because I go away for a week in middle of March. So
Anywhere nice?
Egypt.
To Egypt? Go to Egypt?
Yeah, gonna go see the pyramids and things. It's my birthday on the end of March, so it's kind of like a birthday
ride
thing.
a camel?
Well, I don't know about that. I rode a horse when we went to the Caribbean, and it might have been the worst experience of my life.
Did you fall off?
I didn't fall off, no, but I got on the horse, and my girlfriend's really good on horses, so she was at the front of the queue, and then I was at the back of the queue, and then they pulled me to the front so I could be with her. So I got on this big horse, and they tapped his belly or something, and he started to move, and I couldn't get him to stop. And I was just like, what do I do? What do I do? And yeah, it's a bit panicking for a minute, but you get the hang of it in the end, but it's still not a nice feeling. And I don't really like the feel of horses either. They feel a bit weird. I don't know.
I hate horses. They're the devil's animal. It's the teeth.
Yeah.
Can't do horses.
I don't like horses.
No, I just can't. I'm all right, all animals I'm pretty much okay with. Horses creep me out.
Horses and birds are for me. I don't like birds.
I'm not asked about birds, because you just squish them with the bat. Horses, no, not so much.
Yeah, they can fight back, can't they? Yeah. I've got an awful job on Monday, which is a roof. I've teamed up with someone in my local area with a solar panel kind of business. Okay. So now we kind of pass jobs between each other with the meshing of the pigeons, or if people want solar panels, kind of do that. So we've gone in for this one together. Scaffolding's all gone up, and I got a video which I'll send you in a minute from the scaffolder saying that this might be the worst job he's ever seen. There's dead pigeons in the gutters. They're literally brimmed of pigeon crap. The solar panels are just disgusting, and I don't even know what to do, to be honest. I might I'm going to have to fully PPE mask up, I think.
What are you in for?
A roof
Are you
clean.
just going in? You're in for a roof clean?
Yeah, so before the soak, because it's covered in...
I would start by sucking them out. Get your gutter vac and start sucking the pigeons out with your gutter vac.
Yeah. But it's all like the viruses and illnesses and things you can get from pigeons and whatever they get up to. All of their crap and things in the gutters. Like I say, I'll send you the video. They are absolutely brimmed.
You'll be patient zero of the new coronavirus, won't you? You touched a dead pigeon, you've got the AIDS.
Yeah. But no, it's just quite nice. I mean, I spoke to a few people about running biocide, so like 200 to 1 through my vacuum at the end because of all the dust and horrible stuff that comes out of it just to kill everything off. But it's nasty.
Yeah, it depends how long they've been dead for, doesn't it?
But in theory, if I did have a boiler, that would disinfect the whole roof, wouldn't it? Without
over something like 55 degrees, disinfecting.
Actually, quite a weird question. I suppose not. But what? Say I did have a boiler, never used one. I think I've had one go on one, which someone already set up for me. What temperature do you use for roofs, and what temperature would you use for something like Indian sandstone?
Oh, I can't be. You're asking me questions because everybody does it differently.
Right. Okay.
Right. So
I thought it was like a set answer. That's all.
no. Everybody's got their own way of cleaning, right? So you'll speak to somebody, and they will. The pressure that they'll use to clean a roof will be the pressure that they need to balance the turbo devil on the pole.
So like 100 bar roughly. Yeah.
Could be 100 bar, could be 120, could be 80. You speak to the next person, they religiously, regardless of what they're doing, go at 80 bar or 100 bar. And then you speak to the next person who's changed all the jets out for a 40-degree jet and this, that, and the other. And it's everybody does their own way. This is complete deflection of the question, of course, because the answer is everybody does it their own way.
So if there was like a minimum, you'd say
what for temperature?
Of temperature, yeah.
I would have the boiler set at a minimum of 70 degrees.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
70 degrees under pressure is pretty hot. I would say most guys turn it between 70 and 90, so the boiler does get a little bit of a rest. And because of the way that the water is under pressure, you'll start to see steam after 70 degrees anyway out of the end because it's pressurized water. I think it's about 80 odd degrees it starts to vaporize out the end. So you get the effect, and at that temperature you're going to kill all of the everything that's up there, bugs and diseases and
organic
all the rest
stuff.
of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, everybody does everything differently. That's something I have learned. I think that some of these fads are a crock, because until this last 12 months, nobody ever did it. And yet they've been cleaning stuff all along. You know, we all know there's an overuse of hypo in the industry. It's nearly a fix for everything because it kills and cleans at the same time. Kills, cleans, and disinfects at the same time. You know, if you were genuinely worried about diseases on the roof, maybe you should consider doing something like that as part of what you're cleaning. Take an actual disinfectant with you. Nothing stronger than strong bleach, is there? Yeah, I'm being serious.
Yeah.
You know, so you could use that. But like I say, everybody does everything differently. So that's not a good answer, is it?
Well, no, it was just out of curiosity because if I did ever come, to use a boiler, and I think some people, might be wondering the same question just about like temperatures and stuff. Because there is absolutely not a set temperature you should use. It's completely up to you.
No, there's loads of people doing it their own ways, and everybody's machine's differently. So depending on what you've got your pressure set to, or depending on what you'll need to set your boiler to. So some boilers might not achieve 90 degrees because they've got it turned up too high.
Right, now I see.
The next one might have it turned down really low, and they could comfortably achieve 90 degrees or 70 degrees or whatever it's set to.
So I didn't know that the ratio had to be like if the pressure is really high, the boiler won't reach those kind of things. I didn't. Yeah.
So for pure steam, you're not really supposed to generate pure steam over 32 bar. But that's really like 130, 150 degrees pure steam. What I was getting at is I was about to tell you a story about the fact that I had to start going out and visiting some of my customers on the jobs, so I could understand how they were using the kit, so I could advise them on how to do it better or make them something better. So I've been out with quite a few of my customers now to watch how they're using the kit. I think Sid's a good example of somebody to watch, and I'm not saying that because he's a customer of mine. I think he's a good example of somebody to watch because he gets the results, and he spent quite a bit of time with me learning how to make his machine do all the little bits that a lot of people don't pay attention to do. So if you watch his videos, for example, you'll see his machine. He'll start video and he'll start cleaning before the machine's fully hot, and then you'll see it get to its level. And you'll notice he's turned it quite far down to get a particular heat. He's also goes at the sandstone really gently with loads of heat and so on and so forth. So I would ask somebody who does it every day, what do you set it at? Where do you aim for? And I think that Sid's go-to pressure is between 100 and 120 bar. Depends on which pole he's got. And I think he generally turns his boiler to about 90, 100 degrees. Honestly, it depends on the outcome you want. If you just want to kill everything and you've got loads of time, give it pure steam. But a lot of the time, you need a mixture of a quantity of water under pressure to actually clean the muck.
I think one thing about Sid is he's quite efficient, isn't he? He gets things done really quickly, it seems.
Fast.
Yeah.
Very fast.
But it almost seems like if I go any faster, it will leave streaks almost. Do you know what I mean?
I don't think Sid's speed is in the clean.
Right, okay.
Sid's speed is set up and put down. The reason why I get through the jobs is the clean up. They plough through the clean up really quickly. So they're set up super fast. 5 minutes or so to get the tower up. They arrive on site and they're already cleaning within 10 minutes of being on site. When it comes to finishing, they're like a 10-minute backup of the kit,
or
whatever it is to clean up. They're mega efficient at that aspect of it. I don't think he actually rushes his cleans.
Right.
So if you watch his cleans, most of the time he speeds the videos up because he's going too slow. So I don't think he rushes the cleans. His time is made up because his setup and put down and tidy up is really fast.
So it kind of makes sense now because I think on the other day on his Instagram story, he had got to a job, I don't know, but maybe like 7:30 in the morning. And I think by like 9 o'clock he'd finish one side of a roof or something like that. So I see what you mean. It's speed somewhere, and it's like you say, the setup time. Because it tends to take me probably 40 minutes to get going, but I am on my own to pull up to a job and get going.
Well, it's very easy to lose your first hour. I can do the same at work. I can come in the morning, make a cup of coffee, check the diary, answer 2 phone calls, and it's an hour before I've gone out and put a spanner on anything.
Yeah.
I've lost the first hour of the day. It's that religious, ruthless mentality of we're going to turn up, set up, bosh, get it done. And Sid is an absolute grafter at that aspect of the job. And people do and don't disagree with how he perhaps does his clean. Sometimes he's perhaps standing on a roof when he shouldn't be, or whatever it is. That's up to Sid. But his work ethic of getting set up, getting the job done, and getting on to the next job, that's how he's making his coin. He's saving that 2 or 3 hours a day per job or whatever it is by just being
go. See, he inspired me the other day a little bit because I watched his recent video and then I decided to go for a little bit. And the next day, which was Thursday, I had a roof and a driveway to do. And normally what I do is I try and aim for the roof in the day and then go back on another day to do the driveway and resand it, that kind of thing. But I watched the video the night before and I thought, well, you know what, tomorrow I'm going to get up even earlier. I'm going to get there as it's dark and get going, have ready. And I got the roof and the driveway done in a day on my own with the clean up and everything. And you can see why there's such a difference in that, because otherwise the next day would have been so wasted. I got into another job the next day, and in other ways that would have just been a down day almost, where it feels like you're not getting anything because you're just
shift mounted equipment. That's the shift. So this whole shift to everything being reel mounted, everything being on hooks in your van, so you can literally just go to it and take it off. That I think is what's new with this: the quantity of people that to make their wage, instead of charging considerably more for the job, what they're doing is they're doing 2 jobs in one day.
Mm.
And that's evident with the appearance of massive horsepower, massive litre machines. They were really reserved for drain jetters.
Mm.
And now we're seeing big engine with slightly different pumps on doing 30, 40 litre a minute, 300, 400 bar machines. That's like, there's no way any of our jobs in the UK need that. We're not doing that much volume. But the reason why people are buying those is not because they do a better job. They do the same job as a 15 litre machine.
Mm.
It's because they do it quicker.
See, another thing that I also am without is a needle valve and something to adjust the pressure when I'm on the tower. Because I'm on my own, like I say, if I have to extend a bit further than what I think, I have to up the pressure slightly. I then have to leave the pole balanced, get down, turn the pressure up. It then might be completely off. It might be too much almost because I don't know what I'm at. Do you know what I mean? Whereas I think that's yet again coming with the
proper control on the roof needs more thought, because if you run the machine with a nice soft start valve and there's something like the Vibro X to give you the gentle lift, so when you pull the trigger it just doesn't bounce off the roof. The flow adjusters that you get on the foot pedal are not suitable with that level of kit. So I think that actually down the road there is a device that I can't tell you may already be in development that would fix the problem that you've got. That would basically remotely do what you need it to do. And if we're going to go down the idea of what should you have, really you should have an emergency stop while you're up that ladder if you've not got somebody else. You should be able to stop your machine if there's a problem. Whereas if you have a burst hose while you're up that tower, that hose is going to be snaking everywhere while you come down the tower and get to your machine to turn it off when you're working on your own.
Yeah.
So there's all little things that now more of the professional companies are looking at what you guys are doing. You'll find that the kit will start becoming safer, better, easier to use, less of a mismatch. You know what I mean? So you'll have less of stuff that doesn't quite work. None of this, I can't get to fuel it up because the hose reels are in the wrong way type affair, because they'll be just well thought out, well made bits of kit for the job.
Yeah, it's just I know the whole safety side of things as well is why I did have someone working with me, but not any longer. But I'd never have let them go up on the tower and clean a roof. No way. Dangerous. It's too dangerous because for the first time as well. Like I spent probably there's a video on my channel actually. I spent about 3 hours in my garden, just on the block paving, extending the pole out fully and just playing about, getting the feel for it, moving it in. Practicing.
The worst bit is that first job.
Yeah. And now I've got the K1 unloader, which slightly helps.
It's helped. Slightly.
Yeah.
The Vibro X will make the biggest difference. Huge difference to your pole. There were misses. Innuendo, bingo.
Well, another thing, pro grip, as you say, efficiency. I've got a few other things. I've got the lance holder. I've got the flat surface cleaner adapter for the Q spigot.
Okay, yeah.
The turbo devil holder in the van. Is there anything that would kind of make me more efficient in terms of something I could adapt my equipment to rather than hold something in the van? Do you know what I mean?
So we have been prototyping during the year hooks for your tower. So now you have to balance your pole when you're not using it. These sit in the top of your tower, and you just clip your pole on it when you're not using it so it won't fall off.
That'll be wicked. Yeah, that'll be awesome.
So it also means you can clip it, go down, walk your tower across, because it's attached, you haven't got to worry about.
Yeah.
Get your legs back down and go back up again. There's a few little things that are coming, but nothing. Nothing mega. So, for example, these are to keep in your pocket. There's a little. We're calling it the Alpha Puck. We're not letting this go out as a Pro Grip brand because Pro Grip is all about van mounted stuff. But we designed a hockey puck.
Oh yeah, that's cool.
Right. That one's got 4 nozzles in. Sits in your pocket. That's cool, isn't it? And then this one has, there's this fad at the moment with adjusting your nozzles for everything. So that holds 6 nozzles, so 15 degree, 25 degree, 40 degree. And in the end of the cap is the hexagon for undoing the nozzle. So you want to change your nozzles quickly.
That's your go-to.
That's your go-to.
I'm forever losing those little jets, the one in the previous hockey puck.
Hence why
that's the thing.
Keep it in your pocket, in your van door pocket.
It's safe.
You have to be up on the tower. You know what I mean? Just little stuff. That's not necessarily a Pro Grip thing. But Daniel has designed that for me to do as an Alpha product. So we are working on more stuff to go on towers. So you build your tower and it's got like a rack to hold your stuff on to make it a bit safer. And the biggest thing we've been doing with Pro Grip. Oh, and we've got the gun holder coming as well. So it holds the trigger open, so you have to hold on to it all the time.
Oh, nice. I'll get rid of the old tightness in the hand. Yeah.
It has a strap that goes around your wrist, like a jet ski. So if you drop the gun, the trigger stops being on all the time. We all know you can do it with a tennis ball if you really want, but we've been looking for a safe solution. So we've been trialing that. It's quite a cool thing to do. Just a little clip.
Yeah.
Dead cool. But what we've mainly spent most of the year doing with Pro Grip is, how do I describe this now? So when I met Daniel, he had started Pro Grip and he'd made some for the back of his van, and it was a brilliant idea. I mean, it's so simple. It's like, why didn't I think of that? Or why didn't you think of that? Do you know what I mean? It's such a neat idea. And he made this clip, and he made it so you clipped it in, and it was a tight fit, and it was brilliant. And he came and met me, and I was like, shall we do it together? Shall we do it as a thing? Yeah, let's do it as a thing. So I started going through the Pro Grip stuff and treating it like it was a proper bona fide product off the shelf, not something that was made for somebody. So of course I started snapping them and breaking them and really abusing them. And I'm like pushed him for 12 months we've developed the product on to make something that's stronger, more durable. We've done a flexi grip as well now. So we worked out quite early on how Daniel expected people to use it, which was lift the pole out. They actually pull one end and then snap the far bracket trying to get it out. So we worked out we had a flexible grip at one end and a tight grip at the other. So then we spent basically 12 months altering the design, making a flexible version, adding the other bits to it. We then did the QFSC, which you've got one of. So another problem I had is we were struggling to get our steel ones made quick enough for the demand. So I drew up what is the QFSC. We had a chat, is it going to be an Alpha product or a Pro Grip product? And we decided that would be a Pro Grip product. So we released that. And that, even I'm amazed now, because I saw 3D printing when it first came out. You can jump up and down and stand on, you can drive over that in your car and it won't break. You know what I mean? And same with the slide triggers that go up and down the pole. We've had none of them break. What we have had happen is somebody snapped the gun off.
Oh, really?
The actual gun part, yeah. Nothing to do with the slide trigger itself. So I'm pleased with the direction it's gone. I think that when they first came out, it would be fair to say they were a very low volume beta product. And we've spent a lot of time turning it into a professional product. I mean, we've just took ProGrip VAT registered now, so we're just about to roll forwards with that to be organised and all the rest of it, with a view of 2025 being quite a mega year. Our plan, of course, is to try and distribute these. So somebody like PWS will sell the grips, not necessarily ProGrip, because we don't want to be manning it. We don't think that selling clips at £5 a pop or whatever they are is going to make enough wages for one of us to ever sit there and sell it as a job. So we want it to be something that we just go and package up, and we do it as an add-on to what we do. So there's cool stuff in the blend, really, but it's a bit boring level with it at the moment, which is horrible to say, because some of the stuff is really cool. But yeah, that's sort of where ProGrip's at even.
I've always kind of been a bit. I always stick my GoPro up on my tower, but I tend to find that I bash into it quite a lot, because it sits in, like, do you know, like on the Me Tower, it sits in like the open top. Do you know what I mean? So the tripod's there. It just kind of blows about in the wind a little bit. You see that in the video, and then as soon as you like turn, your elbow hits into it, and same the other way.
Why didn't you had?
Well, I could do, but it'd be a bit uncomfortable. Like the plastic bit digs right into your forehead of my
You're
GoPro.
not thinking third dimensionally, are you?
No, not really.
Turn your hat round. Now you screw a GoPro mount to that peak at the front.
Oh, there.
Yeah, so you screw through that peak at the front.
Yeah.
And that holds your GoPro mount on the front.
Oh, wow. I never even thought about that. My one's like a headband. I do have it somewhere.
Yeah, no, the headbands are really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So you just screw through your peak. So I know that because in one of my hobbies, we toy car racing, one of my hobbies, and they often try and video their own race. And they all wear a cap to stop the sun from getting down the back of the glasses. So they screw it to the front of the cap. Dead easy. Who knew?
I like the...
Full of good advice.
I do like the only reason why I don't wear it is because of that. So I think what I'll do, I'll have a little play, because you can adjust the size and whatever, can't you? So I'll have a little play there. And then if the camera can sit here so you can't see it too much, it'll be perfect.
On top?
Yeah,
top.
Like here, yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I never even thought about that. That's a good idea.
Man, I'm full of all. ProGrip will be releasing a mount for your cap next week.
Do you know what you could do? You could have a hat with like a little GoPro attachment in it. That would be
I bet they exist.
I
you know what? I'm gonna go on Amazon now. GoPro cap mount. Bet they exist. They do caps. £11. They do caps with it on the front already. £6.82. Free delivery from eBay, and it's called all the. I don't know. I can show you. Hold on. This is really funny. Where are we? You know, I saw this, but somebody else had fastened it to one of my caps. It actually exists. Look.
I didn't. Oh my! It actually does. I bet though, because they're not like good quality. I bet you it's top heavy. I bet it like.
Yeah. Well, that's actually a really short peak though. Looking at that.
Yeah, it might be alright because it's quite close to your head, isn't it?
Well, it's right back at your head. That does.
That might be alright. Might be a good little investment.
Well, you know what? For £6.82,
it's worth a go.
They do another one. For £11 that mounts on the front. I mean, this is hardly. I know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to get some bloody green ones of these.
Oh, that's quite cool.
So,
that is quite cool. How does it sit in there though? Oh, I see. So it's got one of those little annoying things that always go missing that you slide in there, and then you've got your screwing thing. Yeah. Oh, okay. Either one of those would work. Might give it a go.
Here's me thinking I was giving you a new idea then. You just not lived. You're not cultured.
Well, if you actually did make one, I bet people would use it, because even on this hat, like you could stick it on this hat and then a bit of branded PWS on it. It goes with the kit. Maybe give one with the machines.
I asked you for discount.
Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, I mean, that's just one thing I always struggle with. And like I've got tripods everywhere, right? And the things that always go missing. Hang on, I've got one here. Are these things?
Yeah, always.
I had about 6 of them. I think I've got this one. This might be my only one left. Because
I've got a box full of all of my GoPros that I don't use.
Yeah.
Which I need to start using.
Oh, my camera is also packed up, I think. Each battery is 100%, but every time I put one in and start the GoPro, it says battery low, powering off.
Time for a new GoPro.
But it's only like a year and a half old. It also hasn't been through that much.
I don't think that tech lasts as long as it used to.
No.
We spent some time talking about this last week, how nothing you buy lasts like it used to, or is as good as it used to be. So I got a camera. It can only be a couple of years old, a proper one with a lens on and everything. And we were lining it up round at ProGrip to take the new product pictures and videos. Our phones took better pictures.
It's the thing though, isn't it? My phone will take a 4K video, 60 frames per second. No problem. The GoPro, it will just murder the battery. Probably like 15-minute clip will absolutely kill the battery. I mean, my phone's not much better, but it's still a bit better. It's not going to,
I'm considering buying one of those Sony Alphas or something.
Well, the
ZF 10s.
Are they cameras or phone?
Cameras, the vlogging camera, whatever it is. Sony, I think it's a ZF 10.
Oh, is this the one with the flippy screen when you can see on the side?
No, it's a proper one.
Oh, okay.
It can have a clip-in lens as well in the front. I think that's it. Is our goose. Yeah, well, talk about going on a tangent. It's just nice to share ideas sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah.
That type of thing. I want to shoot some videos. And I think that will have a better autofocus on it.
It hasn't come through yet.
Might be because it's a web PP file or whatever they're called.
Yeah, I mean, it's a thing, isn't it? Like you say, I just bought this new laptop. Oh, there we go. Yeah, I've had a look at these as well. All the kind of YouTubers that I used to watch, like the Sidemen and things, they all use these, and they all recommend them. They are like, if you type in on Google as well, what's the best vlogging camera? I'm pretty sure this one does come up.
Yeah, I thought that too.
It is something I have thought about, but then again, though, is that waterproof? Because everything gets wet.
That's the problem. So I think I'm going to start with my GoPro, my phone, and this new webcam. So I purposely brought an expensive webcam, so that I want to take this to work. And what I want to do is I want to do occasionally a live Q&A from work. And I think the coolest thing I can do is build a machine while I'm doing a live Q&A. And I thought I'll get the proper kit. I'll get a decent one of these. And then we've got this gantry that goes over the machines that we're building. Like it's a hoist. So I thought, you know what? I could put a GoPro on each side.
And change
both
angles.
running at the same time. And then I thought if I put one directly above, one at each side, I've got this covered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With then a normal camera looking. And then by the time I set that up, I spent 5 hours doing that. And I might as well just walk to my phone, talked at my phone, videoed what I'm doing, and clipped it together on CapCut, and it's done.
It's also the thing with GoPros as well as the battery's changing. If you've got to climb up somewhere and whatever else, and just to change a battery, and they've got the medium mod on them, pain.
Can you not plug them in the mains?
I've never tried. I always use them outside. So I never really tried it. I think you probably can. I know that when I plug it into my laptop to download the footage, it charges the battery. Yeah. I think you can actually. If you plug it into the mains, the battery won't die, but it has to have a battery in it.
Rubbish. I'll find a solution when I get there. I'm not quite ready yet. I keep promising I'm going to get closer and closer, and I think before I spend any money, I'm just going to shoot something and see if I can actually do it. You know?
Yeah.
Let's go back to your list of questions. This is good. I like pre-done questions.
So if you could give one piece of advice in business, whether it's about exterior cleaning, whether it's about general business, deals, insurance, whatever, what would be that one piece of advice you'd give any listener?
I'm going to offer two. So the first one will be your reputation and how you treat people is more important than anything you do, because without it, you will not be able to function. You can be the cheapest, you can be the best, you can be whatever, but unless you've got a good reputation, unless you can maintain that by being right with your customers and right with everybody that you meet, you'll never succeed. No matter how good or cheap you are, you'll never ever succeed without maintaining your reputation. That is what I would say is my number one bit of advice. So when it comes to anything, I normally try and make sure I go above and beyond, even if the customer's been an absolute knob.
So.
I still take a deep breath, smile, cuddle them a little bit, and fix it. Even if it costs me money to fix it, when it shouldn't do. Right? So you will know what I mean, because you will have done a job and you will have got blamed for breaking a plant pot that you probably never broke. You know what? Go back and buy him a bloody plant pot. Honestly, the answer is, oh, I'm really sorry. I don't recall doing it, but I'll definitely sort it out for you straight away.
Yeah.
Right? You do that, that customer will come back. You just put the 30 quid, 40 quid, 50 quid, you put that on their next bill, because they're going to come back because you've done the right thing. But you must go back and do the right thing straight away. That's the most important bit. And then the second one is related to running your business. Okay? So the most important cost, or the best cost to keep an eye on, is your overheads. So for every pound you save on your overheads is equivalent to maybe 100 quid you don't have to make at the other end to cover it out of your profit, if that makes sense, or whatever your split is. It could be, so if you save a quid, it might be that you're on 10%, so that's a tenner you don't have to make. So, for example, phone contracts, it's really good to keep on top of them. So instead of having I'll let you into a little secret, we've got 10 phones at PWS. The guy from 3 rang me up. No, I didn't have 10 at the time. The guy from 3 rang me up and he went, I want to do your deal. I went, I don't think so. I think you're talking nonsense. And he offered me 5 phones at 10 quid a month.
For all 5?
SIM cards. Yeah, for all 5. Unlimited everything. He said, or I can do you 10 phones for 50 quid a month, same price, plus VAT. I said, what's the catch? No catch. I went from spending 30 to 40 quid each on 5 phones a month to 50 quid on 10 SIM cards, which we use in routers and various other bits and bobs now. So I managed to save there because I revisit our electricity, our gas. Do you know what I mean? I stay on top of all of the overheads. That's money you don't have to make on the other side. I can't explain enough how cutting your bill by a few hundred quid at the end of the year, and you do that across multiple things, it's like having a pay rise. And you can do that just by spending a day or two a year going over what you've spent and making sure you do it the most efficient way. So if you're running your vans, for example, it could be having a fuel card or making sure you only buy fuel from this place, but you buy it in bulk because it's a couple of miles out of your normal route. Save £5 a jerry can or £10 a van fill. That's how you'll build and make a successful business, by keeping your money in it.
The phone thing, I pay £40 a month at the minute with my phone, and it is an iPhone. I think I'm over the iPhone fashion thing.
iPhone.
Yeah.
I have OnePlus, so that's a OnePlus. If you've never heard of them, look them up. Right, OnePlus. Buy your phone, because one phone might last you 3 months and you might smash it to bits, or it might last you 2 years. Spend £200 or £300 on a phone and buy it, and have a SIM card. You'll get an unlimited SIM card for between £7 and £10 a month. Done. And buy your phone as you need one.
I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish this contract's up in October this year. I'll either keep this phone and keep running it, but we know what Apple are like. It tends to go down the drain after that.
Yeah, get rid of it.
Or I'll just go out and buy a new. I do like the look of the new Google Pixels, I can't lie.
Something like that. But just don't spend... Oh, excuse me. It's not even that late, is it? I'm such an old man now. It's 9:30. I'm like, ready to go to sleep. Just don't go to town, especially if you're using it at work. So mine, the back of mine's, even though it's kept in a case, it's all cracked and smashed, but it works perfectly, and there are no cracks on the screen. That's a OnePlus.
I get so much dust in my charging port. Do you ever find that happens to you?
Yeah, same. One of those things. That's why on my desk I have because this is my office desk at home. I have things like little picks, for keeping my phone maintained while I'm sat at my desk.
Oh, do you know what one thing is you must keep on your van at all times if the exterior cleaner talk? It's got to be a toothpick.
Oh yeah,
it has to be a toothpick. It's saved ceiling jobs. It's saved jets. Saved all sorts just from these little toothpick things. And sometimes jobs are 2 hours away, and you've got nothing. And if the customer doesn't have one, you're pretty much finished. You can't do anything. I mean, my turbo nozzle.
Yeah, well,
go on. Sorry.
I went out to do a job on Friday. A good customer of ours. I think he caught a bit of frost. He had a weird fitting bust on a relatively new build, just a standard fitting, and he was a few hours away from us, and he wasn't overly grumpy. In fact, it was really nice on the phone, and he was like, "Oh, but I'm going to really struggle to get across the high winds because it was mounted in a trailer." And I said, "Look, I'll come to you." Do you know what I mean? And I get there, and instead of having a workshop full of stuff, I've got a van with basically service tools on the back of it. 3.5 hours from home. And I needed a bloody easy out that was much bigger than any of the ones I normally carry on the van, because it was a much bigger fit. So it's think on your feet, find the local screw fix.
Voila.
2 minutes away, go and get the bit I need, get the job done. And again, that was wasn't really a warranty job, but the customer had only had it a couple of 3 weeks. Wasn't really a component failure. It was probably frost. But I just went and did it. It's just not worth. It's not worth the hassle. You know what I mean? It's part of the job. I swallowed it up. It meant I had to work this morning because I couldn't get all my work done yesterday because I was out yesterday morning. But the customer wanted to go and do a job today. You know what is the right thing to do? I'm sure that customer will come back and buy their next machine from me.
That's the thing. Like I say, your customer service is excellent, and like I say, I speak to Ron. Always call up. Often call up to ask whether something's good enough or whatever else.
Ron's a good sport.
Yeah, I think my next purchase is going to be a dual turbo attachment.
So, for roof cleaning, I now understand why people use them. But on anything less than about 40 litres a minute on the ground, I don't know why you'd bother. Roof cleaning you get a double pass in one hit. So anything you've missed with the first one, Hopefully the second one will scoop up.
Mm.
That's basically the bonus with a double turbo when you're roof cleaning. Other than that, there is no bonus to a double turbo.
The other thing as well, the company that I bought that mounted system from, I gave them all stainless steel fittings for my hose. I've still actually got my 30-meter hose I first ever had, but they've given me all brass fittings back. Now, when I go and take off my Alpha gun, the Q one, I have to get something and hammer to take off the fitting. That's something else I need doing. Do you know, I've got two hoses basically combined in one. They're all brass fittings. I think just a new hose might... Just a whole new machine, please, Darren.
One with a green stripe that goes with it.
I just need a whole new setup, to be honest. Yeah, it's going to happen. I've written down a few quick fire questions, which I'm sure you'd like to answer, and then we'll probably call it. We've got an hour and 50 minutes.
Wow,
yeah,
we've really rambled on. Not answered any of the questions sent me beforehand. We just gossiped about nonsense.
Yeah.
You heard about my big tentacles.
So the first one I noted, I think you mentioned it earlier, was the type of fuel that goes in. I always buy the super unleaded fuel, is what they call it. Is that what you should do, or can you go with the E10?
So, the problem with the E10 fuel is it goes all gummy and horrible. So, the moment you leave it in something, all the little jets inside the carburetors all get gummed up. If you're going to use it and run it till it's all the way empty, then you could probably get away with a cheaper fuel. Probably.
Yeah.
But
I think the
premium is the better fuel to do. You're going to have less trouble with premium. The other thing is that E10 fuel we actually think is more flammable, which is why there's been more fires last year. So last year I saw throughout the whole community more fires from more people than I've seen in all the years I've been doing this. And the only thing that changed was the fuel.
It's a weird one, isn't it? Because I used to use my little Hyundai, the orange one. I used to use the cheaper fuel, is what we call it, and that packed up after about 6 months or so. And I didn't even hardly use it. I used it probably 30 hours max, maybe. And yeah, everything went wrong. Another question. Quick fire again. Side door or back door mounted?
Personal preference, but we probably do a 50-50 split when we fit them between side and back. But so far, we've only been recommissioned to move them from the back door to the side door. I've never had anybody go from the side to the back.
I know that one thing I always think about is if the wind blows and it blows on your exhaust with the back door, because the side door can't really do that, can it? Because it always locks in. Do you know what I mean?
You mean the door shutting?
Yeah. So the wind blows and the door shuts.
Yeah, so there is that. I actually think that the benefit with the side door is for most jobs in the UK, you will draw alongside the end of the drive that you're working on. And you can just pull everything straight out and work on it. I think if you are doing bigger commercial jobs where you are reversing into site or reversing into large drive and large areas, the back door gives you more room to have bigger kit. But I think that for what we do in the UK, if you run a 21.2, you can get on the side door of a Transit Vivaro size van with our compacts, I'm going to say up to 500 litres of water, and still fit all of your kit in the back of the van with it. Why would you want to do anything other than that?
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. That's why I put mine in the side door. Mainly because...
Did you see that picture I sent you of Daniel's? Have you seen how small that is in a short wheelbase van? I mean, that is ridiculously small with a boiler.
It is... this one, isn't it? Yeah, it's in a short wheelbase on screen. As you can see, this is a Vivaro, isn't it?
Short wheelbase Vivaro. So it's an Alpha PB frame, 250 tall tank. That is, we want to road test Mazzoni boilers with our electrics. So that's a Mazzoni boiler with our Alpha electrics on it. It should be the best of both worlds. And Daniel wanted this frame making so that he could hold chemicals and his toolbox and house the batteries underneath. So all of his water tank and his boiler is no wider than what a PB is, which is 70 centimetres. So it's 70 centimetres in the width of his van. And now he can get in the back of his van, his tower, and all of his other bits and bobs. And that's short wheelbase Vivaro.
And that's the back of his van, as you can see. All that room.
Side of his van. Side of his van it's on. And he can put his racks in through the back.
Look how neat it looks. It looks so good. It doesn't.
He went away and redid all of his boarding, so it was all flat, so we could use it to mount the pro grip stuff and make it look pretty. And he painted it grey. He went to all the trouble. He spent a weekend putting the lights in. I mean, what a difference just having good lights in the back of your van makes.
Yeah.
Working this time.
Don't. I need to get lights in the back of mine because I can't see anything.
All these questions are quick fire. Come on.
Sorry. Yeah. Long wheelbase. Old version or new shape Vivaro or Renault. Well, Renault Traffic's the same, isn't it? But the old shape or the new shape.
Old. The new ones are too small.
I thought that because the roof is down, isn't it? Quite a bit.
Very, very small.
So
the new shape Vivaro is basically what a Citroen Dispatch used to be, whereas a Transit would be a similar size to what the Relay used to be. So they downsized the van. So, in my opinion, Renault Traffic, the new Renault Traffic L2 H1 is probably the smallest van you should buy if you're thinking of doing this. And if you want a bigger van, I would suggest that you have a H2, so it's not H1 or H2, medium wheelbase Sprinter or Crafter or one of them. But you don't want the great big massive one. You want like the low version because they're already stand-upable in the back, give or take. And you want a short one of them because they're already bigger than a long wheelbase.
Is that like Jake's one?
Jake's is a bit bigger, I think. Jake's is a L3, I think. I think this is a H2 L3.
Oh, the long one. And finally, Darren, this one isn't so quick fire, but this final question: do you have any regrets at all? Whether it could be you wish you started something sooner, or
in life,
or
with work,
in life, which also goes back to work as well, if you know what I mean.
No, so if we pick on work, I don't think I have any regrets, and I probably wouldn't do much stuff different because everything that's gone on has made me the person I am today. So if I'd have made these 20 years ago and I'd tried to capture this market 20 years ago, the person that you were dealing with is not the person that you're dealing with now. 20 years ago, I was not a financially stable company. 20 years ago, I was brand new. I had to be paid for every job. I couldn't afford to do anything as a warranty job or a free or a run around or a nice or because it's the right thing to do. So that the outcome and the feeling would have been much different and much more pressured. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, if I have to change something or for whatever reason you're not happy and you're going, look, I'm really unhappy with this, Dad. I'm really, really unhappy. I can just go, okay, I'll give you your money back. Back then, I couldn't do that. So I needed to go down this journey and along this path. For me, I've changed so much in the last 20 years. I think so. To get to the point where everything is now working, I mean, it's worked well before, but our work is different. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sort of, people go, oh yeah, oh you've suddenly just got really big. Well, no, we've just suddenly started making a few more machines. Actually, last year we serviced and maintained a third of England's ambulance stations throughout the whole of the country.
That's huge, yeah.
That's huge. As well as the police, who's your biggest customer? Airbus. Well, what would you possibly do at Airbus? Oh, we made the system in Airbus that cleans the wings.
Mm.
Really? All right. So, everybody just assumed, right, that because we've only just like popped up in this little corner and suddenly this is it's a bigger deal now because of the volume that we're doing. But when we first started doing it, this wasn't a small percentage of our overall business.
Mm.
That's
Huge.
saying something. When we first started doing it, it was nothing worth talking about.
And now it's
now it's mega. This side of the business mega. We still do the other side of the business, which is why it's difficult for us because the bit that pays the wages, which is the other stuff, we still have to do. Trying to do this as well is a bit, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
I
think this is kind of the route I'm going down with experience, which is why I do these kind of podcasts and speak to people. So the things I suffer with quite a lot is having no one to kind of, if I have an issue, I say this, Jake's Discord's really good for this, but if you have an issue, it's always good to vent to someone like a business partner or someone that works with you.
There's nobody. So this is mental health for blokes. I mean, I'm not much of a believer, still not, about mental health. I think it gets overused and over-talked about. But that doesn't mean I don't understand that it exists. Right? And it hasn't been until there's a point in your life as a bloke where you gain your dad power from your dad. Right? You might not be old enough yet, right? But a lot of us are dads, or the person, it might not necessarily be your biological father, but there'll be somebody in your life who has this power, and they're the person that you go to when you've got a problem, and they're the person that always has an answer. You know what I mean? And always can do it. That's what a dad's like. And there comes a point in your life where you gain that dad power, right, from your dad or that person. And when you have that, you have nobody to turn to. So for me, I've got a bunch of people that work for me who depend upon work for their wages. Sonia also, so she's my wife, works within the business. So my whole family's income, there isn't like she has a second job somewhere else. So a lot of the guys like you guys might have a missus that goes and works wherever she works. You've still got one income coming in. So it might be tight, but you might still be able to pay your mortgage. You know what I mean? And your rent. Whereas for me, everything we do comes from the one place.
Yeah.
Not only that, but my dad's also worked within the business with me. Right? So he came to work for me many, many, many years ago. And his income is reliant on work. So suddenly, all these people rely on working. And I have nobody, like you have nobody, to go and talk to about problems or stuff. And it definitely, I would consider myself quite mentally strong, or would have considered myself quite mentally strong. Over the last 5 or 6 years, I can definitely say that at times I've really struggled with my mental health. With not having anybody to talk to, anywhere to vent at. I think it's why I quite enjoy doing these things.
Yeah.
I get to talk about work and offload about everything. That's why I go on a rant, I think, sometimes. But I've become now, I can now see it, so I can understand how people can get trapped, feel like they've got nowhere to turn to. I also can see, because a good friend of mine committed suicide in Rona when all that was going on. And I would have considered him to be the most mentally strong guy I knew. He was physically strong and mentally strong. So this guy, his name was Dave Martin. He basically lived above some cattle in a barn most of his life. And he used to bath in a trough. And you think that sounds dreadful. He loved it. Right? This was his life. He was like a manly man, man from down in the earth. Corona came along, messed with his brain. He started doing some weird posts on Facebook and arguing with the local MP about stuff. None of us really twigged that he was in serious trouble, and it was difficult for us to actually get to speak to people back then. Next thing I know, in typical Dave way, he made sure he was going. He used chains to hang himself from the rafters of his barn. And I'm like, that sort of says it. That was one of the moments that I realised that actually, even if the strongest guy I know can suffer, then we're all at danger of it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the fix is for that. I try and stay busy so I don't think about it too much. I try and make sure my hobbies, I fully immerse myself in my hobbies completely. So I don't just have a hobby that I can pick up and put down. I go and do it. I do it for the day, and it takes up my whole day. And I do a couple of key things as a hobby. I race radio control cars. Geeky, I know. And I also sim race. So down the other end of my room down there is a full-on sim rig, steering wheel, foot pedals, bucket seat, and all the rest of it. And when I do that, I'm immersed so much in it that everything else going on goes away.
I think that's a thing, isn't it, where there's... Well, you've always got to have a hobby, haven't you? And whether it's, football or, like you say, you're racing or, playing a sport or playing video games.
I started playing badminton on Friday night. I wouldn't consider that to be enough to immerse me away from everything. A video game can do it. I tell you what, I'm quite into Command and Conquers sporadically, right? And I particularly like, and I think this says something about my character, sort of the transport tycoon stroke railroad building ones. You build an empire from basically logistical. You set up a logistical network. Oh, you could lose me on one of them. I could be gone for days. I think that's just something about how geek I am over the type of things that I like to do. But I do think it's important to have a hobby. I think what we tried to do with Sausage Fest was to make it a day that you could come and have a coffee and a chat. And it was 50% that. We had a lot of people come that I didn't expect to come. But it was meant to be. And we're going to do another couple of them this year where you can just come and have a chat and talk about it. Oh, talk about stuff.
Right.
I mean, it's not like it was never meant to be a big sales pitch. It was always about just coming and having a chat and
the community
sharing. So I had a guy come in to buy a machine off me, and he broke down just before he brought the machine. Nothing to do with the price. He was like, "This is my last chance to do something," and it completely broke down. I'm like, "Oh, what do I do?" I gave him a cuddle, made him a brew, listened to his problems. And I think that's important to be there for somebody. He happens to have gone away and smashed it, by the way, and he's
flying.
Best thing he's ever done. But at the time, just the emotion, and you never know what somebody's going through. So that angry neighbour that shouted at you for making a mess, it might not actually be about the mess. It could be something completely else.
Yeah, I didn't make Sausage Fest. It would have been nice to go.
Oh, you missed out.
I missed out. Yeah, it seems to be every time there's something going on, I'm always occupied. Like I can't do Expo because it's my birthday weekend. I already pre-booked that about a year ago, so before the dates even came out from the last one. I went to last year's one. Didn't go.
What did you think of it?
It's okay. I went there out of desperation, to be honest, because I really needed. I came to you and got a foot pedal and a turbo devil.
That would have been cheap.
Yeah, I mean that was good prices though. I went to Gutter Vacuum Systems and got a pole, and it basically had come down because I left my job about 3 or 4 weeks before that, So I tried to, build up, and then earn a bit of money. And then I had 2 roof cleans booked in a week, which I'd never done one before. So I went to Expo with the plans of, yes, I'm going to walk away with all this stuff. It'll be great. And I walked away with most of it. The only thing I had to wait for was till the Monday for the poll from Julia, because I went in late. And then I had the roof clean on the Tuesday. So that Monday afternoon I spent in the garden practicing. It was good to have a chat with everyone. But you guys were one of the only ones that took any stock. But yeah, I mean, I don't know what, because it was my first one. I don't know whether it's always been.
I didn't take any machines to sell because they're all sold.
Yeah, but I can imagine if you took machines as well, it'd be quite chaotic.
The expo's a weird thing. Everybody comes, expects a deal. It costs quite a bit to go and do it. I'm not complaining about the cost of the stand cost or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? These things cost. The expo for us costs around 15 grand to do.
It's expensive.
By the time it's organised and gone and paid for the stand and staff, and then the week after put it all back together again. And we definitely don't make anywhere near 15 grand's worth of profit going to the expo on the day. I think that the expo for us, it's 2 things. The first one is to turn up and wave our dick at all of our competitors. Mine's bigger than yours. Right? That's number 1. And number 2 is just to meet our customers.
But do you not feel like if you went just you'd be able to do that anyway, without taking any stock?
I could have a 3 metre by 3 metre gazebo with a signing stand, and there'd be a half-hour queue.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was hectic last year when you were all the drinks and things.
I had a separate bit for me to stand, and most of the time there was a 40-minute queue of people waiting to speak to me separately to the stand, and I was a bit starstruck by that. I was quite.
Celebrity status.
I'm not that kind of guy. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like a mega star, or I don't really know how to act or behave. Do you know what I mean? And I sort of set myself up over the other side, and suddenly 2 queues appear as the day goes on, and I had people. Do you know the first thing we sold off our stand last year?
But the way you said it, I'm going to guess. Wait, could you order machines from the stand?
Oh, you could if you wanted to, yeah. But this is now. This is what told me that the Alpha brand had made it as a brand. When you could sell merch with the brand name on, that's when you know you've made it. First thing we sold off the stand was somebody came running to the stand because they heard we took a limited run of T-shirts and brought a T-shirt off the stand.
I've got the hat in the bag. I've got the bag somewhere.
Who buys a T-shirt with a Jet Wash brand on it? Well, I did them as a joke. It says something like, don't put your fingers anywhere you wouldn't put your nozzle. Something like that across the front of it. With big Alpha across the back in bright green. And I did them as a laugh. I thought it was funny. I did it because I did it as some giveaways for us because I thought it was funny. And I had a few that we took to the show. Sold all of them. Every hat that we took, we sold. And I don't mean give away hats.
Sold.
I mean sold hats. They were more popular than the actual Jet Wash kit. I met people that were saying, and that husband and wife, all he ever does is watch out for you on videos, and he's saving up to buy one of your green Alpha machines. He'll have one next year sometime. And I had one young kid come up, and he stood there, and he was like, and his mum, I think it was with him, said, he's been watching you on everybody's videos, and he's been waiting to meet you, and he just wants to say hello. I'm like, hello. He was like, you could see like a little tear starting to come out. I'm like, oh no, what have I done? I'm like, wait there. And I went and got him a hat, right? And I give him a hat. Burst out in tears.
Oh my God.
Could I sign it? Okay. Like I'm some kind of, at this point, I've not even got my own channel.
Yeah.
I just cameo everywhere else. And I was like, wow, this is I started to think that this was something else when that happened. But even to this day, I'm still amazed that none of the others are prepared to put any time in out of work hours to do anything for the community.
Mm. Yeah, you find that, don't you? I mean, you are the only one that appears on streams with Jake. Appears on videos most of the time. I don't see any other suppliers anywhere. There was
They don't get paid to do it.
But everyone enjoys, like, this is what I mean. If you had kind of, you had your own channel, you just had fun with it, and just, if you took you through the process of how it goes from the website into being made, the whole alpha, one of the machines, it goes from this to this to this to this to this to this to this, and this is the final product, and this is how it goes in your van. I think the whole industry would watch it. I honestly do. I think the absolute whole industry would watch that video.
Well, when I do my next one, I best video it then, I know.
Yeah, I would just do it just for see what happens, because you're doing it anyway. Do you know what I mean? You're just having a bit of fun with it.
Yeah, having a bit of fun. Fun is what matters more than everything else. I've been told many things in life. Hints and tips. I talked a little bit about earlier about keeping your overheads down. A friend of mine who runs a business that's now over 100 years old, he's like, look, it's your monthlies that'll kill you as a business. Don't have anything on finance unless you have to. When you make it, when you start making money, don't go out and get a Range Rover straight away, because it'll be that Range Rover payment when you're quiet, which is what will take you down.
Keep you at the edge.
I've had really boring advice like that, which is why I didn't have a new van in the company. The first new van we brought was 2017.
And it was
we started
2005?
2005. And even then, it was new but a pre-reg. So I went price shopping again, because it didn't matter to me what the reg was on it. I just wanted something with no miles and warranty. And I had a pre-reg. Since then, we've had 3 new vans, but that's, you know what I mean? It's one of those. A new van won't earn you any more money than an old van. So, my opinion, you're better off having the right kit in an old, reliable van than a brand new van with rubbish kit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Darren, we've been going for 2 hours and 16 minutes.
That's a record, isn't it?
It's been a good... Well, I tell you, every time we do an episode, it started at 1 hour 40 minutes with Jake, I think, and then with Craig did an hour and 50, and then Matt did an hour and 15, and now we're beating that at the moment.
Oh, we're thrashing it. Have you had Jake on? You've interviewed Jake, have you?
The first one, yeah.
How did that go down?
Yeah, it was all right. We had a good chat.
Sophie, way more fun.
Sophie?
Yeah, she's like Sophie. She's way more fun than Jake. When you take him out and get him drunk, it's hilarious. I think Jake's is watching this. Jake, I think Jake's quite submissive, because I think Sophie sort of it's quite good. It's really fun to watch him get drunk. The dynamic's hilarious. Like, you watch Jake on his channel and he's got it all together, and then when you see him out with Sophie, it's like oh, okay, sorry, Sophie. Thanks, Sophie. I love them both.
Yeah. No, I think Sophie made an appearance. I think she gave him a glass of wine at the end.
Oh, okay, that's nice.
But
perhaps it wasn't swimming day.
But yeah, I mean, I've never been, or actually, he was drunk on a live video the other day. I think a live stream. I think it was last Mondays, as in Saturday.
Did his audio go to crap?
Yeah, I didn't really watch that one. I was busy on Monday, but I remember.
Unfortunately, I've had a bunch of Mondays where I've just been dead busy. It just hasn't worked for various reasons. It just hasn't worked for me to get on. Normally I try and get on. Half the times I pop on his feed, it's because I'm halfway through. I'm sitting watching it anyway, and he wants to ask a question, so I just jump on.
Yeah. They are good fun though. When they're always good fun to kind of listen to on a Monday. I find it always. Monday tends to be a bad day for me. I don't know why.
It's going back at work.
It's not that. It just tends to be the day when everything goes wrong. Or
yes, so we have that at work. So busiest days of the week are a Monday and a Friday.
Yeah.
So it's a Friday, everybody's pulled the kit out to use it for the weekend. Doesn't work, need it fixing straight away. Or a Monday, they've used it for the weekend and now it's all broken.
I think my thing is because it's a fresh week. I booked the biggest job in for the Monday and Tuesday. I think that's the trouble I'm facing. But
awesome.
Go on.
No, I was just about to say I look forward to seeing the production. Obviously with some nice music over the top of it and some nice edits. And, get some swooshes around.
Yeah, well, I mean, I did try to do that. I actually made a recent video. I got quite a bit of slander about it. I tried to do loads of like visual effects and things, and like little funny clips and whatever else in between. Like I'd be like, I said, "Oh, me and my friend, the solar panel guy, we've made friends, whatever." And then it cut to Jay from between going, "Oh, friends," and stuff like that. Tried to have a bit of fun with it, but it didn't go down too well. I got like 3 comments.
I'm missing that, but I'd love it. I think it'd be brilliant.
Yeah, it didn't go down too well.
I walk around and go, friend. I do that as well. Friend.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Darren. It's been great to have a chat with you.
Catch back up again in a few months and see how your podcast has been getting on.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, what I've been saying to the others is, whenever you want to, just give us a message and we'll try and arrange something. Jump back on.
Maybe I'll interview you when I do one.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, that'd be quite interesting, actually. That'd be a different dynamic.
Still, when you book in for your van install, we can do it all as a video.
There we go. That could be your first video.
I could con you into editing the video. I put it on my feed. Well volunteered. Oh, that sounds like a plan, doesn't it?
Yeah, it sounds wicked.
Don't ask for a discount.
Yeah, no, I won't ask for a discount. If you could help me sell my machine, though, that would be greatly appreciated.
I think that I could definitely list it and mention it around some people and see if we can move it on. I do think it's a shame to butcher that. I think selling it on is
it could work for someone. It definitely works for someone. It's just the fact that I want electric, just so many different things. It just doesn't make sense to, like you say, destroy it and restart.
Agreed. I'm going to go, but thank you very much.
Yeah. Cheers, Darren. Thank you, and do remember to like and subscribe, everybody, and we will see you in the next one.